Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're doing our quickie with Joe because I'm on a short study break. We know that the pandemic has affected a lot of people, and we know that retail is one of those big industries that was really affected badly by the pandemic. I live in Melbourne. It's a beautiful day outside today, and we spent most of 2020 in lockdown, particularly stage 4, which was you can't leave the house except for 4 reasons: for shopping, for work, for caring for sick people, and exercise. 4 reasons. So everybody had to do their online shopping. So there were empty retail stores around. There was a moratorium on rent for both business rent and household rent. The Victorian government was, if you were having trouble paying with your rent, you could approach your real estate agent and they could apply for a grant, and they could get $3,000 to go towards your rent to keep you in your house. There's also eviction bans. And the same with businesses. Businesses could negotiate to pay 50% rent with their landlord. Well, that ended at the end of March. And so we're seeing that a retail fashion brand called Sportsgirl is now having to defend a rent bill of $2.3 million. So let's just pull this up. I find this really interesting because, I always, this is considered a test case for the rent retail laws as well, because I have a feeling that there's going to be more of these. So this is Sportsgirl. So it's an Australian fashion brand. It's owned by an Australian businesswoman called Naomi Milgram, and she also owns Suzanne and Suzanne Gray and some series of fashion stores. So it is reported, and it's been reported by a set of news agencies, that it's been accused of breaching its lease. So it's accused of breaching its lease by not paying more than $2.3 million in rent for its flagship Melbourne store, claiming the agreement was frustrated by the pandemic. So the Greater Union Proprietary Limited, trustee of Centrepoint Melbourne Trust, has taken the women's retailers to court, seeking a payment of $2.307 million in outstanding rent plus $80,000 in interest. So they're before the Supreme Court. Greater Union, and Greater Union here is a movie group. So there's Greater Union Cinemas, and so that's a whole business, another whole business. Alleges Sportsgirl breached its terms of its 7-year lease by failing to pay monthly rent plus interest from April 1st, 2020 to December 31 last year. Now, in Sportsgirl's defence, we were in lockdown in April 1. We came out about September, October. So, however, Sportsgirl has denied breaching the terms, blaming the unforeseen economic fallout from the pandemic for the store closure against government restriction, which is true. The government closed down all the retail stores. It wasn't that the fact that they did, they went, oh, we're not going to open. So Sportsgirl said parties had entered into the lease assuming the retailer would be entitled to use the premises for trade and that consumer access to the store would be unrestricted. However, the outbreak of COVID-19 in Australia from March 2020 had led to the state of emergency in Victoria and government shutdowns of non-essential activities such as retail shopping to prevent the virus from spreading. The Sportsgirl said the economic impacts of the pandemic, government restrictions, and public concern about the risk of spread had seriously deleterious effect on foot traffic and retail in the Melbourne CBD, causing Sportsgirl unable to generate sufficient revenue to cover its financial commitments. So they're stating, no, they couldn't pay their rent because of the pandemic. So here's my question to you. here's my question to you. And as I said, this is going to be considered as a test case, because if, let's just say, Sportsgirl wins, then every other landlord that tries to sue their tenants are going to use Sportsgirl as a case. What we went through in 2020 was unforeseen. Well, unforeseen. Nobody saw it coming. And I hope that we never have to go through that again. But it's interesting now that all the government, and even the federal government has taken away all of their protections. And so everybody's on its own. And the prediction is that we're going to see lots and lots of evictions, both business and home. We're going to see lots of people struggle. And the fear is we're going to see homelessness rise. And I'm a little bit saddened by all of that. I wish that they extended everything just that little bit longer, because everything's just starting to get back on its feet again. We still have certain restrictions. They're slowly coming off, but we have so much more of a free life than we had this time last year. And I wish both the state government and the federal government just extended their restrictions until the end of the year, because by that time it would be fine. Sydney's just having another outbreak now. WA's got a positive case. We're still getting positive cases through hotel quarantine. We're still going to get positive cases. We've got the travel ban in India to try and contain the cases that we've got. Howard Springs in the Northern Territory has a huge amount of positive cases at the moment. So it's like we're sitting on wire edge. You can only get vaccinated in Australia if you're only 50. That's if your GP has stock or can get stock, or the vaccination centre is able to have stock. There's just so many factors that are preventing this from happening, from this rollout. So in my opinion, they should have kept these moratoriums to the end of the year. Now, I actually met my landlord for the first time yesterday. Usually I deal with a real estate agent. And she had said to me that the real estate agent had put pressure on her to increase my rent. And she's refused. She's going to keep my rent at this rate for another year, because she understood that we've just come out of a very, very hard time. And she said, I didn't think it was fair to raise your rent when we've just come out of the pandemic. Finally, somebody with sense. So I would like to think that the government would have kept their provisions in place until the end of the year so that everybody could get on their feet. Welfare agencies and charities are starting to see unprecedented demand again. So that's my concern. So this is a very important case, I guess, for people. So tell me what you think. Do you think, the other thing is you're all from different parts of the world and you've all got different restrictions. So this isn't just going to be happening in Australia, I imagine. This is going to be happening all around the world at some point in time. So what are your thoughts about all of this? Should there be provisions for an extra 12 months for protections of businesses and people? And is this going to be a test case? And do you think that the retailer has a plausible reason? Is the pandemic a reason not to pay your rent? Tell me, because I'm really interested to know. Have a great one. Don't forget, if you could hit like and subscribe and leave a comment and just say hello. So this was supposed to be a quickie and we've nearly hit 10 minutes. So, but we all know I like to talk. Anyway, I better get back to the assignment. You have a good one.